With a great story comes great responsibility, and I think Jordan Brand absolutely dropped the ball on this one. There are a few logos in the world as recognizable as the Jumpman logo. You have Apple, Google, Facebook, Coca-Cola, and of course Jordan Brand's parent company, Nike, the swoosh. And this iconic logo that represents $5 billion in annual revenue began as a photo of Michael Jordan doing the Jumpman pose with the Chicago skyline and sunset as the backdrop. At least that's the story that Nike wants you to believe. A story that Nike may not tell very often is there was actually an OG version of this photo. This OG version of the photo had Michael Jordan doing the Jumpman pose in an Olympic tracksuit right before the 1984 Olympics, and he was actually wearing New Balances. This was before Michael Jordan signed with Nike. He was doing a photo shoot for Life magazine, and it was captured by a man named Jacobus Rentmeester. So there was a lot of legal disputes over who actually owned the Jumpman logo, but I guess that was eventually settled, and the rest is history. And recently, Jordan Brand wanted to tell that story in the form of the Air Jordan 1 Skyline. Now this shoe actually never released on the sneakers app or Nike.com. They released at big retailers and local boutique shops that Nike calls neighborhood stores. And I was able to get mine at a shop called Sneaker Room, well online, but a shop called Sneaker Room for $180. Now it was actually very easy to get. I probably could have doubled up if I wanted to, but I have a good inkling of why people didn't want this shoe, and here's why. The upper sole of the shoe comes with a white base layer with denim overlays, and you'll see this very unique color, obviously inspired by the backdrop of that iconic photo. So you see like a gradient orange and peach at the front, and then like a grape purple violet color on the heel of the shoe. And on the other shoe, the color is reversed. So at the front, you have the violet grape color, and at the back, you have the sunset peach orange color. Now let's just address the elephant in the room, the denim overlays. This is what ruins the shoe for me. Now I'm not opposed to denim, but I am a leather person. I think leather is king. I like the texture, I like the look of leather the most. However, I am open to denim shoes, but usually only on a discount. Like the Air Jordan 1 Heirlooms, I got those shoes for about $100, so like $70 off retail. I like the colorway, so I was willing to take the black denim that came with that shoe, and I think it was a very versatile shoe. I'm very happy with that purchase. Using denim as the overlays for this shoe, I think it just does the shoe a disservice. This shoe with such a great story behind it, the denim material just feels cheap. Like up close when you feel it, you can see the threads of the denim, you can see how dust catches onto the denim, and overall it just makes the shoe look dirty, it makes the shoe look cheaper than it should be. This shoe should have gotten the Air Jordan 5 DJ Khaled We The Best leather material treatment. The leather on that shoe is premium. It's about as soft and nice to touch as one could imagine. And honestly, that crimson bliss color kind of reminds me of the sunset haze orange color that appears on this shoe. This shoe is supposed to tell the origin of the Jumpman logo, one of the most iconic logos in the history of corporate America, in the history of corporations, full stop period. And they chose to go with denim, not a material that is very popular among sneakerheads. I don't get it. I don't know if it's because denim allows this gradient color to come through and no other material can portray this color. And for the leather base layer, even that leather isn't the nicest leather. It feels kind of synthetic. Feels like leather that you find on cheaper Jordan shoes or cheaper Nike shoes. And I'm just kind of baffled all around by the material choice. And with that out of the way, let's move on to the rest of the shoe. And the shoe features a rubber midsole and a rubber outsole. And of course, the midsole is sail, because apparently that is the default for shoes now. I'm officially tired of sail midsoles. I wish they would just go back to white or any other color midsole for shoes going forward. Please make it happen. And you'll notice the Wings logo on the side of the shoe. It is printed over the denim material. So sometimes you'll see the Wings logo debossed. This one is not. The outsole of the shoe, for any Air Jordan 1 fan, you'll be familiar with this iconic outsole. One of the best ever. It comes in an all black color. Now there is a Nike Air unit on the heel of the shoe, and because it uses a rubber midsole and outsole, this shoe is heavier than a lot of other shoes that uses like an EVA foam, polyurethane, or like a Phylon material. But it kind of makes sense. The Air Jordan 1 is obviously an old shoe. If they started using like a Phylon midsole and outsole for the Jordan 1s going forward, I think people would have a real problem with that change. Now moving on to the inside of the shoe, you see a black insole, and the Nike Air on the insole looks kind of like that purple pinkish color that you see on the overlays. I think that's a really cool touch. The shoe does come with extra laces. It is the sail off-white color. Don't mind that too much since the midsole is sail, but I probably would have preferred like white laces. And I think the box of the shoe is where it really shines. The lid, it's an obvious choice using the backdrop of that iconic photo and that very unique sunset color with Chicago's skyline. And the hoop, really obvious choice, but came out so nice. Now moving on to sizing, I'm usually a size 9.5 true to size. I do have wide feet, but the Jordan 1 is actually one of the shoes, one of the Nike or Jordan shoes at least, that I don't have to go up half a size. Surprisingly, it fits pretty well for wide footers, especially if you give it some time to break in. The toe box area might get a little stiff, but overall, I don't think it's too bad. Whenever I go up half a size in the Air Jordan 1, I feel like the length is too much, and the creasing, it just creases very weird at the toe box. So I definitely recommend going true to size. As for comfort, the Jordan 1 has never been a very comfortable shoe, at least not in my opinion. It's not the lightest shoe, the cushioning is very minimal, especially if you compare it to more modern day shoes. The ankle collar feels comfortable because it's well padded, but because of the minimal cushioning, it does feel like you're walking kind of directly on the ground, but you have midsoles to separate your feet from the ground. It's not the best. So comfort wise, it pales in comparison to a lot of shoes nowadays, but I guess you gotta give up something to wear this iconic, classic, versatile silhouette. So the total sole score of this shoe is 17 out of 25, right around average or around the middle of all the shoes that I've reviewed. And generally, I really like this colorway. I think it's one of the most unique colorways that we've seen in a while, but when it comes to the materials, I think denim is just a really poor choice. It just feels cheap. The threads of the denim, it just makes it look messy, and for a shoe like this, for a shoe where you would think Jordan Brand would want to execute and have a really premium vibe to it, I just think it misses the mark. Versatility wise, one of the most versatile and classic shoes that you can get. And the colorway itself, even though it's very different, it's pretty eye-catching. I think it's pretty versatile. It goes with a lot of shoes. The white base layer definitely makes it easy with the black swoosh and black laces. So versatility, I think it's really, really great. And for storytelling, if you disregard the materials and you look at the box and the overlays of this shoe, I think it's done really well. You know exactly what it's referencing. Everyone that knows the history or have seen the photo knows what the shoe is about. So overall, I think this is a really, really nice shoe with a very, very big flaw. There's just so much potential there. On a shoe like this, where the history and the story is so important, I really didn't like the choice of materials that they went with. I think denim works for a general release, but for a shoe that's literally trying to represent the history of a brand, I thought they would have gone with the premium route. I thought they would have come with the nicest leather quality all over the shoe. And again, maybe it's the limitations of this gradient color that they had to use denim. But if that was the case, I prefer this shoe never even released. I just think this shoe deserved better. So that's it. Thanks for watching Soul Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Air Jordan 1 Skyline. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.